first. Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy Mondays, everyone. Remember them? They were a good band.
Yes.
Any fans? Yeah. Well, they were. Yeah. Welcome to Monday's Cardiff City Folding. An illustrious panel of Bluebirds tonight. Top right, Mr. Mark Blackmore. Bottom left, Mr. Gary Lee. And bottom right, Mr. Jonathan Wilkins. All Bluebirds Supreme. You're very welcome. Get involved with the show. Anything you like to say, then we're all ears tonight. We got away with one on Saturday. So we'll start. Let's start an hour and a bit just before the kickoff when the team was released. And your thoughts on the team selection before we even got on the pitch, boys. Mark?
Well, if you want to specifically go for the hour, I was still driving to Stockport at the time because the M6 was a nightmare. We'd had 3 accidents, and my estimated time arrival was 2:15. So that's the first time I've had team news in the car. But yeah, it was a worry. I'll be honest. It was a worry. Chambers. We're going to talk or wax lyrical about it in a bit. But Chambers at centre back, obviously a concern. NG at fullback was a slight concern. So, I think before the game, I was definitely concerned about it. I think during the game, I think I can see why he did it with the international call-ups, and they were a really physical, tall side. But yeah, I think Jonathan and Gary will probably go on and talk about. But Chambers struggled. A real concern there was, to be honest.
You made the kickoff though, Mark, did you? You got it.
I did make the kickoff. I did, yeah. But it was a bit worrying. But yeah, we got there about 2:30, I suppose.
There's nothing worse than being late and getting delayed and stuff, and that's one of my pet hates, especially when you go away. Never mind. Gary, what did you think? Did it when you saw the team? Did you any thoughts?
Yeah, quite surprised really. I can understand why he did to an extent, because obviously Capaccio and Lawler had been away and done a lot of travelling with Wales. I can understand taking a couple of young boys out of it. But Chambers, for me, I said last season when Rizza was picking him a couple of times as centre half, he just hasn't got the physicality. And this league's even more physical. He gets knocked about too easy, like a feather in the wind. He just hasn't got physicality in this league. And an NG looked like somebody who hadn't played football for 6 months. He was so far off it. It was not good. And they just bullied us. And we really got out of jail because they could have put us to bed. But you know what? I think Chambers at best is a fill-in for a defensive midfield, and I hope that he never plays centre half again, not in a serious game anyway, because he just worries me. He's just not a centre half. He's just not a centre half, And we lack cover at right back, really, don't we? Capaccio can play, and you've got and we play a totally different game. I mean, like I said to Mark earlier, I don't think the way we're trying to play now, NG fits into a right back in this system, because Capaccio is more of a go forward, isn't he? Get forward into their half, and push people back, And
Gaz, we'll
just didn't do it,
Gaz, we'll come on to that now in a second. John, let me throw this one at you, John. Do you think it was? I know the boys allegedly voted themselves, but do you think it was a good idea to give Chambers the captaincy? Do you think that may have influenced, like, the manager and his team selection on Saturday at all, or not?
He wouldn't be a captain in my team, put it that way.
What did you think of it? No. What did you think of the team sheet? I forgot to text you before the game to get your thoughts. I was that concerned about what he picked, to be honest. What were your thoughts, John, when you saw it? When you saw the team come up?
When I saw obviously Callum Chambers and Fish, I thought, no, they just don't work. They just don't work.
Yeah. What do you
no understanding there?
I don't know if any of you saw it. I saw in the week that BBM said that they were included because they trained well. And when I heard that comment, I thought, well, yeah, okay, but obviously the other guys couldn't train because they were on Welsh duty. So I thought that was a bit of a strange comment to come out with. I don't know what you thought. What do you reckon on that, Mark? I mean, I appreciate they may have trained well, but
yeah,
I mean, does that make it?
I'm all for picking lads that are training well. You know, you want to pick players in form, and I don't want him to have I don't want to have a team of favourites, which I think we had last year, because quite frankly, some of these lads are proving this year they were good enough to have a go. But yeah, I don't. It's difficult to work out what he was thinking. The only thing I left the ground thinking really was this height. They were a really tall side, but as Jonathan has said, you know, I think, and Gary too, that Chambers didn't win a ball really. And he was making some really strange decisions, heading sort of balls at waist height and getting himself charging forward, and then there's space behind. I think Fish has had a good season personally, but Fish and Chambers, I understand what Jonathan's saying. I don't think that's going to work. I think it'll be, you know, Lawler has clearly got to come back in. He made a big difference when he came on. The three of them, I wrote down, you know, Isaac Davis, Lawler, Robinson coming on, gave us a sense of urgency. And walking out the ground, speaking to some of their fans, they felt that we were really strong the last 20 minutes.
It's quite simple. You just turn the telly on.
I'll take the goal, but you know, we, as Gary said, we got out of jail. We took a point. They were a physical side. We'll talk about referees at some point as well. I thought the refereeing was
shocking again.
And it all seemed to go against us a little bit. So to grab a late goal, walk away with a point, and you say, well, okay, the lads have got to learn from that. Yeah.
What do you reckon about Osho, John? Do you reckon that? And you do you reckon there was a case for him to start, because he's a big bloke as well, and good pedigree from what I've been reading. He was in Luton's team that got promoted to the Premier League, and you go on the Luton forums and they wax lyrical about him. He sounds a really good signing. So do you think maybe he wasn't fit, or the reason for not including him, you know, in the starting lineup, or perhaps he hasn't trained well? I don't know.
Well, that's it. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's like everything else. And they only wanted to know what they wanted to know, innit? You know, I thought Offshore, or whatever his name is, I thought he was going to start Saturday. To be honest, I really thought, because you haven't brought him in to be on the bench, haven't you? You know, undisclosed fee, 4-year contract. You know, you haven't brought him in to sit on the bench, you know. And I thought, you know, and the one from Chelsea, and Yvonne Elliman, whatever his name is, you know, I thought them two would have started, like, you know. But I don't know. Only Seamus knows the manager, innit?
Yeah, you missed your vocation in life. You should have been a presenter, mate. You've done it all, I tell you. Yvonne Elliman and chicane in one sentence. Brilliant. What do you reckon, Guy? Was there a case to bring to play Oscar on Saturday to start him?
I was surprised a little bit, Wig, because obviously he did play, you know, he has played for Auxerre at the start of the season. So he's not one like Kellerman. I can understand, because obviously he's coming back from he's had he had a hamstring op, didn't he, in the summer? Yeah. So he's probably nursing him back in. So I'm surprised. I'm sure Osho must play tomorrow. I would have thought. I would have thought he will definitely have a run out tomorrow for at least some of the period. Because, but we were saying earlier that you know, I was concerned in the summer really that we haven't gone out and tried to sign another forward in the transfer window, because I was saying to Mark before we went on air, I'm concerned that, you know, for me, like, I don't think Robinson's a great finisher. I really don't. I really don't think he's you know, he's going to get that many goals. Although a lot of people, and although I think BBM said that he thinks that this Kellyman, when he gets fit, can play down the wings as a number 10, or if necessary through the middle, because he's 6'3". So I suppose perhaps he signed a player like that as a sort of cover all forward positions, really. So they'll have him then, Isaac Davis, Ashford, Robinson and Salek. So I can only think that is the reason. I think probably midfield, if we can get Robertson and Turnbull fit again and playing it, we've got a, we have on paper we've got a decent enough midfield, but it's in these games really where goal, if you can get a goal, we can, so but we'll wait and see. I mean, I can't complain about the start. I mean, if you had said before the season kicked off where we were going to be after 7 games, you'd have said, yeah, all right. But, we're getting away with it a bit. And all our away games, Nathan Trott looks a decent sign, doesn't he? So if Osho and Kellyman turn out to be equally as good, then great.
I think, Gary, I was going to say, if we want to get out of this division straight away, we are going to need somebody that's going to get 20 to 25 goals.
Yeah.
Right, because we've clearly got midfield players that are going to score. Ruben's going to score in this division. Yeah. Ashford's going to score.
Yeah.
Willock is scoring, but we are going to need somebody, and it's going to have to be Salek's going to have to step up and say, I'm going to get 20 to 25.
Yeah. But we were saying earlier on, the way we're trying to play now, we're playing a much more possession-based game. We're not getting so many, he's getting frustrated because he's getting battered around, Salek, by the pretty lumpy centre-halves. We're not getting, we're not playing like we did, we're getting the delivery. And then at the end, when we did get a cross into the 6-yard box, he scored. So we know if we get delivery in like that, he will get his share of goals. But at the moment, we're not playing. He's playing a lot. He's up front on his own. They had back 3 on Saturday. They kicked him from pillar to post, really, didn't they? They pulled him, the referee didn't give him a lot of protection. And, and then, when he reacts back, then he usually gets a free kick given against him. So, I think the way we're playing, we're playing a different way. So, Salek at the moment is forfeiting a lot for the team, I suppose, isn't he? He's not getting so much, they're not getting so much crosses in because they're not playing as direct as we did, before.
No. And some of the crosses that have gone in have been poor, haven't they? Kean Ashford struggles to pick a man out. He can pick a defender out.
Yeah, we'll come to him now, Mark.
Yeah.
Go on.
We'll come to him now. What I wanted to say is, do we all agree that we were bullied then on Saturday? From minute one, I was screaming at the telly. I mean, I would have loved that game personally, but because I always like to get stuck in. But do we need then like a session with someone like Gunnarsson or just someone? It was just crying out for someone to put a crunching tackle in. To stick an elbow in someone's. Even if you get a booking, it doesn't matter. But it shows you that you're not going to be bullied. And again, I think he must have looked at Chandler, must have looked at the Port Vale game, and he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and that was try and kick us off the park.
Yeah.
He's experienced in a lower league, so he probably knows that the refs aren't going to be the best. And that one on Saturday was probably one of the worst ones we've had all season so far.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was chronically bad.
Yeah.
Didn't give anyone any support at all.
It's terrible. It is. It's awful.
Do we need to toughen up then? Do we need someone? Would someone like Robertson in the midfield, when he's fit, make a difference to? Do we all think that we need to put more challenges in or to get stuck in a bit?
Gunnarsson's never been replaced, hasn't he? Yeah, never been replaced, Gunnarsson. We haven't had that midfield that puts his foot in, liking it, dictates the game and gets stuck in. Now, Robertson won't do that job. I'd say that now. I don't think he wants to be Alec Robertson because I looked at his body language when we lost at Norwich, right? And the players come over to us. Salek had to tell Alex Robertson to do the Ayatollah, and he was clapping. You could see he didn't want to clap, he didn't want to be here. That's just my opinion,
Yeah. Is there anyone in our squad then that could do that type of job? Can you think of?
Not really.
No.
I don't think there is.
No.
It was on my shopping list for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. An
experienced midfielder. I think I'm not great with the names of the opposition, but they're number 7, ran the show, right? Every drop ball, go into his feet. He was a pain in the backside. Every little niggle. And Ruben, unfortunately, Ruben's not going to do that, and he's not there to do that,
No.
right? That's not his strength. But he was desperately trying to get the ball out of that situation, and he was just getting himself caught a little bit because you turn 1-2. Those guys are not going to give him that space.
No, they nullified him. You know, Joel I didn't have much of a game either, did he? He got blocked off. You know, he couldn't. None of them could get going. Ashford had a real poor game. You know, all through the team, really, we were off it, weren't we? We were just way off it. We didn't seem to have any control. We couldn't, you know, get our passing game going, and they made it a dogfight, didn't they? And it worked. You know, they won all the 50-50s. They won. You know, they won the headers, didn't they? They the back, you know, nothing was going into the area, right? You know, it was just, I just couldn't see us scoring, you know. Although we had a lot of the ball after Capaccio and Lola came on, the last sort of 10 minutes or so, we did get a fair share of the ball, but we were going across and back, and then it was just the last sort of hurrah, really, when you just stick one in there, and we got, you know, we got a bit lucky, and you know, I was delighted, mind. I mean, because we stole a punt there.
But do you know what yeah, you're right, Gad. Do you know what I thought about Saturday? I thought because the balance at the back was all wrong, it was like a domino effect. That affected the whole spine of the team. So whereas we'd normally have Capaccio bombing on, and we'd have Lola playing those, and that's what he's really good at, is playing those nice incisive balls through the middle, you know, and getting the passes in. And I think because those two were missing, I think that's why that sort of impacted on the midfield, and that's why we weren't able to get going. And what was more surprising for me, and I don't know, you boys were there on Saturday, was the changes were not made at half time, because I think they needed to be made at half time. I honestly think I think, John, if they'd been made sooner, I think we would have bore more fruit. You know, it was crying out for changes to be made, wasn't it?
I was screaming at Ashford, like, I like my wingers to take their man on and take that ball into the box, make their defenders work. It could be a bad challenge and bring you down. You just don't know. He gets the ball, puts his foot on it, and then passes back. Instead of taking the man on, momentum gone. Then take the defender on, because their black fella for Stockport, they're number 5, and Pye, that was his name, the other guy for Stockport. Them two, they were immense. Absolutely. Ashford was bouncing off that Pye all the time. Buying.
Yeah.
You know, Jonathan, sorry, I was just going to say, Jonathan is spot on, because if Kean Ashford had taken momentum at it, that would have been a different challenge for the fullback. But what he's doing is every time he's putting his foot on the ball, he's then trying to work a little bit of magic to get around him. Well, all Pye did is every time Ashford touched the ball, he stood between Ashford and the ball. He said, "You're not going to wrestle the ball off me," and he didn't. He was a really good fullback, but he never tested him for pace and just say, "Do you know what? I'm just going to run at you, and now see what you're going to do."
And showing too much of the ball as well. Like, he had him in his pocket, mate. He had him in his pocket.
Yeah, you're right.
A couple of times someone put a nice ball through for Ashford, and he had a bit of momentum. But you're right, he tends to go so far, something up there. He doesn't seem to have the confidence to, and I noticed it the last home game as well. He doesn't seem to have the confidence to take his fullback on the outside. He stops, checks, and 9 times out of 10 he's going to come back in, or he'll knock a ball backwards. As opposed to, a little tip of the shoulder, take on a fullback, go on the outside, get to the byline. That's what he doesn't do, is get to the byline to get the ball in the box.
Props that way all along, where they said what they wanted him. They said they wanted another winger, didn't they? And I think that's why Kellerman's arrived. Yeah. Because perhaps he is more direct and is more... Perhaps he's quick, we don't know, do we? He's 6'3" apparently, so I don't know, but he's probably a couple of weeks off yet, isn't he? Maybe you can see now why they want somebody who's more, because I think pace is a killer in this league. I think if you can, again, a couple of times this year, particularly at home, away from home, we've scrabbled a few wins, and we are, against we've got all our 4 away games, we haven't. The best we played was in the first half hour at Luton, when we dominated the ball, but we didn't get a goal. And then obviously, like I was saying to Mark earlier on, Trott made 3 outstanding saves, didn't he, to keep us, and then we get that goal. Willock gets that goal, and then we see out the game. But at home, when we've sort of upped the pace a bit, I think we look a bit more excited, definitely more exciting than last year. At least when's the last time we scored 4 and 3 in consecutive home games? At least we're scoring a few goals. I think we're far from the finished article. I think it's a long old season, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we've got a team of youngsters, and hopefully we can get a couple of our walking wounded fit. So at least because when we can only name 7 subs now, sometimes you think, I wish so and so and so and so could be on the bench, because you're restricted, really, aren't you? You name it, but I just hope we can keep it going. At least it's more, at least we're talking about winning game or getting points where we're up against it. Whereas last year it was just dire. It was just awful. At least it's a bit more exciting. At least you're looking forward to a game on a Saturday, aren't you? Really?
Yeah. The home form is really pleasing. The home form's been terrific. I think Saturday was a narrow pitch that was never going to help us with the sort of width that we want to try and play with and have wingers, really going wide in attacking space. There wasn't a lot of space on the pitch on Saturday. Home form is really, really pleasing. It's just nice to have a season where you can walk up to the stadium and feel like there's going to be a good performance. So I perhaps you've just got to put it in perspective. I think that's a good point on Saturday. A terrific game to look forward to on Saturday coming. It'll be great. It'll be great to have a bumper crowd there as well.
I just want to get some messages in, because we've got a lot of people looking in tonight. So thank you very much for getting in touch. Keep them coming in. Jonathan, what about this, boys? At the moment, anytime Salic gets the ball, he gets kicked in the air or dragged to the floor to stop him. They know he's a danger. They foul, and the refs don't seem to give anything. So what do we think about the ref on Saturday? Because I mean, personally, I thought he let him get away with blue murder on Saturday, didn't he?
Oh, he was shocking. And the linesman on my left-hand side, who was a dead spit at Jordan Pickford. Honestly, you'd have been better off with Stevie. You'd have been better off with Stevie Wonder on the line. Honestly, he was shocking. And in Chambers' defence, right before the penalty, when Perry NG instead of standing a man up, he's all gun, bang straight into him. Chambers did get pushed, and that's why he was protesting Chambers. He did get pushed, and the linesman was a yard away, and he didn't get nothing. He's looking at the rest of the decision. I'm thinking, unbelievable.
Well, I don't know what you think, but I've noticed more and more. I mean, the last home game, the linesman on our side, which is on with the manager's side, the linesman that day, they don't seem to want to make it.
They don't flag. They don't flag anymore, do they?
No,
they're afraid.
They don't flag. They're 5 yards away from something, and they just look at the referee who's 50 yards away in the middle of the pitch.
Exactly.
Like on Saturday, we said the first minute of the game down their end, Salek chased the ball in the first third minute of the game, and the centre half pushed him into the advertising audience, and he clattered in a bit like Ollie Tanner did at Wimbledon, and he smashed it. I thought, and he was a bit slow getting up. I thought, oh my God, another one, and so there was a lot of that, wasn't there? They certainly look. They knew how to play the game, didn't they? And they knew how to play the ref. So I think you've got to, particularly with a young team, perhaps you've got to be a bit more. You got to wise up a bit. But there you go.
Let me throw a name at you here, then, Gar. He's not in the squad because we let him go. Joe Rawls. Graham brings a great point. Do you think we should have held on to Rawls for games like that on Saturday? Then, what do you reckon, Mark?
No, I'm not convinced. I think Joe was terrific for the club. He was a great servant to the club, but he was never going to get games under Barry Murphy. He just don't play the game quick enough. We haven't. I guess it's probably fair to say we haven't really replaced him. We've lost a bit of experience. Back to your point about refereeing, Gary and I were chatting before, and I was a little bit disappointed with Wintle and Chambers in the first 20 minutes, because they've got to teach the youngsters to say this referee's not going to give that, so we got to learn. But both of them whinged for 40 minutes every decision, and Wintle got himself booked for it.
Yeah,
those lads have got to realise they are the senior professionals. They got to help you, Joel Colwell's along the way, and teach them how you're going to play against sides like that, because the refereeing was poor. but he was also never going to change his mind for 90 minutes. So you've got to try and learn to deal with what the referee's going to do. And Wintle and Chambers were not great at that, in my opinion. They were the biggest whingers there. Chambers went to speak to the referee at halftime and got told to leave the field. And obviously,
here's a great point. But
not for me, Rawls, I'm afraid. Lovely bloke, great servant to the club, but not for this year, in my opinion.
All right. Okay. What about this then, Gar? Paul Stockport, he says knew how to stop our midfield, but do we think that Barry Murphy has to find another way to play against teams like Stockport and Port Vale?
Yeah.
So in other words, have a plan B.
He probably does, but it's like with managers with a philosophy, they team a bit. They like to play the same way, don't they? Really, they don't sort of, they try to play. I don't know if we've got the personnel to play. With what we've got at the moment, because obviously Turnbull's sort of been in and out of that thing, isn't he? And I think he gives you a bit more. He was very good at Luton. He was decent at Luton until he, again he got injured, didn't he? So probably but have we got the personnel to play any other way in midfield?
Good point. What do you think, John?
No. Because I like Turnbull, comfortable with the ball, don't give it away, keeps the ball well and all that. But when these teams are going to play to their strengths, isn't it? Like Port Vale proved it, and Stockport, they come out to me, they look like the Harlem Globetrotters. They're about 7 foot tall, isn't it? They're flipping huge, isn't it? So they're going to play to their strengths, right? So it was like Stockport. We didn't do it Saturday. We didn't play in our usual groups of threes and all that, didn't we? We didn't do that. But they did, didn't they? They played in groups of threes, their intensity levels, and bang, straight into us, straight away. And Cole didn't have any time on the ball. They'd done a job on him. They stopped him playing, and they knew what they were doing. But our players, we haven't that physicality. No, we haven't got that. And I think Salak would be better up front with someone. I really, really do.
Martin Ryan's got a good point. He says our goal scoring away from home especially is a concern. So with reference to what you say there then, John, is there a case for playing 2 up front through the middle?
Yeah. I'd have Isaac Davis running off him, someone like that. He holds it up and, chests it, holds it, controls it, picks it on, and he's got the pace in the Isaac Davis. That's why I'd give that a try,
I think Isaac deserves a run in the side, Mark. I don't know about you. I think he scored that goal away at Wimbledon, didn't he?
I think so. I think I mentioned it earlier. I thought that the 3 substitutions of bringing Lawler, Davis, and Robinson on changed the dynamic of the game. Robinson, as Gary said, it doesn't really feel like Robinson's going to get a goal, but he is causing a bit of chaos in front of the back 4 or back 3, whichever they do. So Isaac Davis for me. Let's talk about the positives. I thought he was really positive, and I think his name goes ahead of Ashford as a winger for me. To say if you're going to reward players in training, I think you need to reward players that do something for the last 20 minutes. I think Davis is well worth it. The only thing I was going to throw, you said, can we play in a different formation? I felt last season it wasn't for very long because we were poor. But having Chambers as a defensive midfield player did work alongside Turnbull for 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe he's the physical presence away from home that we can consider, because we don't want to play him at centre back anymore. But that is potentially a role I think he could do with a bit of physicality in it.
Yeah. Thing is, Wintle's been very good up till Saturday, because they were all poor Saturday when the whole team weren't very good Saturday. But up till Saturday, Wintle he's been surprisingly decent, hasn't he? He's had some very good games. So I think, unfortunately for the boy, Eli King would have been the next defensive mid, really, wouldn't he? If it was devastating, really, for him, because I think he would have been given a chance, really. Maybe to play with, instead of Wintle, if they were taking Wintle out of it, he would have been slotted in there in the Wintle role, I think. But obviously,
is there a case for Mafiko to come into the midfield then, or do you think he's going to be?
I think he'll play tomorrow. I think he played at Exeter. I think he'll play tomorrow at Exeter, definitely. I think.
I'd like to look at
Mafiko. Yeah. You know, I think
he's a midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's never a fullback. I watched him in the army once. He is not a fullback. You know, the boy was asked to do something totally alien to him in that one game. You know, and he came back strong in the next game. I don't know who was only against. Was it Swindon he played? Was it Swindon the game? Was it Cheltenham? I'm not sure. But he is a midfield player, definitely. That's where he always plays in 21s. And I think he'll play tomorrow. I think with this game against Bradford coming up on Saturday, I think it's going to be quite a lot of changes tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know, I think Turner in goals. Osho, I think, plays. I think even you know, Louis Giles might even play left back tomorrow, although he's been, and Mafiko definitely play, I think.
What do we think about the Virtue Trophy then? Is it? I mean, Peterborough won it last year. It's a Wembley appearance if you get there. We'd all like to be back at Wembley, but do we go fairly strong then, or do we go super weak, or do we put a team out, you know, to win the game well and keep the momentum going? What do you think, boys?
Half and half, I think.
Yeah, I'm with Gary on
you
that.
You like a Kerry Gard, don't you?
Yeah, chips and rice.
Right.
Any poppadoms with that?
No, well, you don't want to go too heavy. You don't want to go too heavy.
They'll drive you crackers, he will. Oh, they are.
Oh, God. I think it's a Mickey Mouse tournament unless we win it, in which case it's a major trophy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but we don't like to be back at Wembley. That'll be a good day out, wouldn't it? I mean, if you
I haven't got a great record at Wembley, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't think anyone has. But I mean, they're good days out. I mean, you're not going to forget the Blackpool. You know, we should have won that game. I mean, we probably should have beaten Portsmouth if Dave Jones plays Ramsey, and he didn't play it. But I don't want to go there because I was freezing cold that day. I don't know if you remember that one. I mean, the semi-final against Rotherham, was it, where Ledley scored? That was half decent. Yeah. Barnsley, good one, John. That was half decent. But apart from that, but it's a nice day out. I'm just thinking, you know, if we could get there, then we're not going to turn it away, are we? But
Liverpool,
but it's another 3 games though, Wigan. It's another 3 games, Tuesday games in between. Plus, we've got Burnley away. That's another game. You know, of all the games to have, Burnley away, if it being a home game against somebody, it'd been all right. But you know, we're all saying like we got to try and keep people fit and all that, and it's a big ask. And you come down to this league, and you potentially could be playing like 55, 60 games, like if you
with a smaller squad, right?
With a smaller squad.
That's what he wanted, you know. And he said he didn't want players sat around not doing anything. Well, he's you know that those youngsters are going to be tested. It's a lot of football. You know, and some of it will be quite high intensity, won't it? You know, like you say, Mafiko. I think he could do a job in midfield, but I don't think you'd have put him in against Stockport away.
No. Tomorrow would be an ideal situation. I think boys like him will get a game tomorrow. You see, I just think they will. You know,
so maybe we will go 50-50 tomorrow. Maybe it'll be you know, a few
chips and rice tomorrow. Yeah, definitely.
This is a good comment from Halftime Oranges, and I love that username. Fair play. We always used to have Bovril halftime after Bovril and an orange. But that's great. He says, lads, we've not conceded a goal in open play this season, nor have we lost. But do you think the longer this continues, the more teams will fear playing us? Or do they fear us already, and that's why they're getting stuck in, maybe?
What do you think, John?
Pardon?
What do you think, John?
I just think they play to their strengths, mate. They're physical, and that's it. They don't play to their strengths. You know? Simple as that, really.
I'll be honest. I know we scored 4 against Plymouth, but we are going to really wallop somebody at home. I think if we score 2 or 3, you know, too early, we're going to give somebody a real walloping. In fact, it should have been Plymouth. Plymouth should have been 5 or 6.
The strange thing about
that, the space, right? The space that we're playing and the intensity we're playing in at home. It's just difficult to replicate that away on some of these smaller pitches, and that's where they find us out a little bit. Where you know, Joel and Ruben get bullied a little bit.
Yeah.
But we
No
said at the
space,
start
yeah.
of the season, you're going to these places, and it's a big game for them, particularly with top of the league now. I think,
Yeah.
and yet the funny thing was against Plymouth for 35 minutes, it was awful, wasn't it? And then we got 2 goals in like three minutes before half time.
Yeah.
And like you say, in the end, they were lucky that they only lost 4. But for us to go off the pitch 2-0 up at half time, that flattered us, didn't it? And yet in the end, we could have won 5 or 6. You know,
but I think, Gary, that was only stemmed from the fact that we didn't want to shoot for the first half an hour.
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Loads of possession.
Yeah, I just want to touch on Plymouth. I thought they were half decent until we scored. They'll be up there at the end of the season. I guarantee you that.
Well, they beat Luton with 10 men on Saturday.
There's loads of messages coming through, so let me just mention a few. Jeff De La Cruz, hiya Jeff. He's looking in from Ireland. He says, Wiki, you need to ask the Virtue Trophy question on April the 12th. I'm presuming that's final day, Jeff. So
that's a major trophy for them, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we'd all like to put our hand up, and we'd probably all be there if we did get to Wembley. So anyway, that's Tuesday.
It's worth saying Jonathan is going Tuesday. I think of the 4 of us, Jonathan's the only one going tomorrow night, aren't you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'm just coming to that. Jamie's on. They're going down. I think 570, which is not bad for a Tuesday Mickey Mouse Cup competition, John. So well done, mate. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. I always do with Cardiff City. I always look forward to it, even though they give me a heartache, but always look forward to it.
And it's
you got to say, people like John who go away to the Virtue Trophy first round or whatever it is on first. If we do get to Wembley on the 12th of April, the club should give him a free ticket, shouldn't they? And people, there's 570 people going. There's 570 people going. Yeah, 570 people going tomorrow, and
Gary, you'd have more chance. You'd have more chance finding Lord Lucan, mate. Flipping
out. Probably.
This is a great point, boys, from Martin Ryan. And I didn't realise this, but he says, boys, do you know that we've only scored goals after 40 minutes in the league this season? That's a point that I never picked up on.
Yep. So a little bit about what I was saying about Plymouth. We just don't seem to want to shoot at times, And I think it was Wintle that got the first. I shout, "Will somebody just stick their foot behind it?" Unfortunately, he did, and it went in. Because their keeper wasn't clever at Plymouth. I didn't think he was the best. He was, and it showed in the second half, really. But it's a great stat that he's picked up on that, and I think it stems from us just playing a lot of possession and not people having a go.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think we need to do a bit more of that as well. And I'm sure he would have noticed that, BBM, and passed that on to the team, surely, because you can see that, can't you? It's quite evident that we tend to play a bit too much around the box, don't we? Whereas we should just have a thing.
You're on edge 18. Put your laces through it, body over the ball, and put your laces through it. It's like they're trying to score the perfect goal, isn't it? By walking into the net.
Turnbull had scored some cracking goals, in his career from outside the box, and he just doesn't seem to want to shoot when he's in a City shirt. And you can only imagine that's being coached into them to say, well, if you don't think you can, keep possession.
Yeah. Just a quick one as well on Willock, and I don't know if you noticed. Obviously, we did the ball for the goal on Saturday. He switched to the right wing for the last 10 minutes or so, and it was something we used to do quite often, going back with Berkey and going back before that with Nooney as well. Just keep moving the players, moving their defense around a bit more, and whether that was
all the time.
Whether that was initiated by the manager or whether that was just something he did. But I thought that was it was a real good ploy. And if you noticed, he was on the right-hand side. I think he's primarily a right-footed player, isn't he? Because he always tends to come in when he's on the left side. But he actually cut in and then put the ball in for Saleh on his left foot and put it on the sixpence, really, didn't he?
That was the keeper's fault for that goal. He should have come off that.
It was.
He came and stopped, John, didn't he? He started the camera, stopped, and
he hesitated.
Yeah, he did. They on their message boards after, they were having a go at him because he was awful apparently at Plymouth the previous week, and then they were also having going at Challoner because obviously with quarter hour left, you could only see one winner, couldn't you? And then they started making a few substitutions and took 2 of the guys off who were pushing us back. They brought 2 other guys on, and then they lost control of it, didn't they? That's the only time we actually sort of got hold of the ball. and they were having a right go at Challoner for being too negative and sort of sitting back and letting us come on to him. You know, so
did you see the comments? Did you see the comments from Challoner afterwards, where I think he said that the keeper should have rearranged Salah's face or something like that?
Something about teeth or
he should have, yeah. Going back to Willock, though, he's been, you know, I was very critical of him last year, and I think he deserved it because he did nothing. But you know, you've got to say this year, he's in the first 7 games at least, he's done okay, hasn't he? You know, he's actually scored a couple of goals and made a couple of assists. So you can only, you know, you've got to speak the way, you know, you've got to say, you know, it's a great improvement on last year. I know it's at League One level, and you expect a player who's been with, you know, to be able to do something, you know, in League One. But you know, hands up, he's scored a really important goal, and all in all, he's been much better than last year, isn't he?
Superb guy.
He's taking his chance because he's got a chance to have a good run of games now, hasn't he?
Yeah. Here's a great comment from Halftime Oranges, and see what you think about this, boys. Does Mr. Tan and company deserve any credit for the academy setup? Now it's starting to produce quality players. A lot in the squad and more waiting for their chance. Was it always their long-term project? Thoughts, boys? Go on, John.
Go on, John.
Go on, John. Get in there.
It's gone quiet with Tan now, isn't it? He's done you nothing now, and it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Tan.
Yeah.
You know, and this Taka the Otter or whatever his name was, he's going to take over this South African one, and that's all gone quiet, isn't it? It's weird, like, isn't it? But it just proves how poor Rizla, whatever his name is, and Bullet, how poor they were as coaches. These youngsters should have been played a couple of seasons ago, given a good run of games. But Bullet did it once because his hand was turned because there was about 10 first teamers out injured, wasn't it? So he had to play the youngsters like Conti and all that, and Ashford and Davis. But these youngsters should have been in a couple of seasons ago and playing regular.
Great point
it's
from
been
Jamie.
forced upon him. It's been forced upon him to an extent because they've got rid of a load of big wage earners, haven't they? Like El Ghazi and a few of the others. And they left with the kids. Obviously, why BBM's come in, because he's got a track record of coaching kids. And I think it's probably been put to him, like, whoever comes in has got to work with what he's got. And what we got is a lot of promising youngsters. But, you know, it's a hard old league to get out of with a team full of youngsters. But at the moment, we're doing okay, you know. At least we're scoring, you know, at least it's exciting football, though. At least the football is, you know, you're looking forward to a game on a Saturday. So I hope it can continue, you know, and, you know, I hope we can keep doing what we're doing, you know, which is
Jamie's got a good point. Let me get this in from Jamie. Our never say die attitude, massive credit to the team and coaches. In previous years, we would have accepted the loss. A great trip home on the train on the weekend for sure. So, I mean, if you think about the game and where we scored that goal, notoriously, certainly the last season, you wouldn't have seen us getting that goal. And, you know, we've got a couple of late goals, haven't we? Which is credit to the coaches and the manager. Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, totally agree. I think there is a bit of faith in the team that they'll just keep going and keep plugging away. And actually, I think we do look a stronger second half team. I don't know whether that's the youth in the side or the strength that we on the bench. When we come on, I think we do look dangerous and we can play for 95, 97 minutes. You know, and it doesn't look desperate. It's got to be honest, I didn't see that goal coming. Right, no. At 90+6, there's no way I think we're getting a draw. But yeah, it's a great comment. I think we have plugged away and they do keep going and they believe in themselves. So, you know, fair play to them.
Yeah. You know, it was almost like, you know, as bad as we played in that game, and I agree, I just could not see us scoring all day. But when you score that late, you know, it's almost like winning then, isn't it? To get a point out of something where you're playing so poorly and thinking we're never going to score and then getting a goal, it's you know, it's almost like a win, isn't it? They were devastated. They were, weren't they?
For sure, yeah. This is a great point from Ted Heath. What does Mr. Tan do, throwing ahead to January, if we're top 2, or what would you like him to do?
Back the manager.
Back the manager.
Yeah. Back them.
Sell the club. That's as high as it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, do you think that he'll throw a bit of money at it? I mean, surely. I mean, he needs to. I mean, he doesn't need to, but surely, if we're top two, he's got to maybe think about bringing a few more in.
Yeah, we need a couple of like what I was hoping for, and a couple of experienced. I don't mean coffin dodgers, ancient old, but
yeah,
some have been around the block, like, if you know what I mean. You know, to push the youngsters through a little bit, like, as well. A couple who've been there and done it, like, just to push us over that line, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but I think what might happen though is if he's willing to spend a bit of money, even in wages or something, maybe BBM can go out and get some players in from contacts he's got who are going to cost a few bob in wages, maybe. You know, a younger. You know, I don't think he will go for older players. You see, I just don't think he will go for your 30-somethings. But whatever he does, if we are where we are now, or right in the mix there, if the manager's not backed at that point, then there's going to be. I mean, there's no hope then, is it? You know, if he don't back him, if he doesn't back his manager to get us back into the championship at the first time of asking, then you're thinking, you know, what does he want? You know, why is he here? Why you know? Because he was devastating.
I'm Birmingham.
Move on.
I was going to say quickly. So I'm Birmingham based. Birmingham spent a lot of money to get out of this division.
Yeah.
They spent 30 million, or didn't they?
It worked. It worked. You can't knock them. It did work. Let's get on to Saturday quick, because we're on the last 5 minutes now. Bradford Saturday is Foundation Day, so bring a pound to the ground, even though cash is not welcome, apparently. Is that right? No, but you've got to bring a pound to the ground anyway. Seen that, John?
I haven't seen that.
Foundation Day. Yeah. Bradford City, so it's first playing second on Saturday. They're going to bring a big following down, definitely. I mean, let's hope we get a decent crowd, and the weather didn't put people off. But what's your thoughts on the game on Saturday? Back to Lawler and Capaccio side, and thoughts on I mean, Bradford a good team, yes, but we should beat them at home, surely.
Yeah. Why not?
Go on, Drew.
Why not?
Yeah. You got to be positive, you know. It's you know, you think you go out and just try and play the way we have been at home, you know, and see, you know, I think it'll be back to the regular back four, you know, but just go out and do what we've been doing at home, you know, and hopefully, you know, take our chances when and if we get them, you know, and it's good to be looking forward to a big game, isn't it? A big game we've got a chance of winning.
Yeah. Lawler, Capaccio for me, and Isaac Davis as well. Start him on the wing.
What about the kid that played on the right side? Naya
Kua.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
He'll play tomorrow. I think he'll play tomorrow, Wing. That's another one I forgot about tomorrow. I think he'll start tomorrow. Yeah.
John, you got a thought on Nayakawa?
Yeah, I think Seamus will play him tomorrow. BBM, you play him tomorrow.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. But you wouldn't necessarily leave him in for the Bradford game then?
Depends how the game's going, innit? Like, you know.
I'd definitely give him 20 minutes and have him on the bench. You know, start with Isaac Davis. You know, have him whichever side he wants to come on to and he's comfortable with. Bring him on with 20-25 minutes to go. I'm looking forward to Saturday. I think we'll win. I think we'll win 3-1. I think it'll be a great game.
John, score forecast? Bradford?
2-1 Cardiff.
2-1 Cardiff. What do you think, Gar?
Yeah, I think about the same. 2-1 maybe. You know, I think if we can sort of impose our game on them, you know, and you know, like obviously we can score first. Like, I mean, that's the big one, isn't it? Really, if we can score first, you know, get a goal before the 40th minute or whatever you said, you know, maybe that would be a good start, wouldn't it?
Jeff saying Bradford are not very good. He reckons 4-0 on Saturday.
Who said that?
Jeff De La Cruz. I think he's been on the whiskey. Yeah. All right, Jeff. No, Bradford are there to be knocked down. I know that. What about Exeter tomorrow? Then John's going down. There's 2 cup games coming up. So we got the Virtue Trophy tomorrow, And we obviously want to keep the winning run going, even if we do play a weakened team. And then the little matter of Burnley away, and I fell asleep that game yesterday. Burnley against Liverpool. God, dear me, I didn't enjoy that one. But then we got the League Cup at Turf Moor after the Bradford game. So
I don't see Burnley taking that seriously, to be honest with you. I think they'll play a weakened side.
What are we going to do there, though, Mark? Are we going to go strong?
It could depend on how we get on Saturday.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
That's why I think if we win well on Saturday, I think he'll give a good portion. He'll want to keep it going. But if it's a struggle Saturday, then I think maybe we'll take a weakened side and give the lads a rest.
Yeah. And just before we clock off here today, let's go just around the block here. What do we think of the impact that the manager's made at Cardiff City since he's come in? You know, when you think of the squad and the players at his disposal, I mean, he's fair play to him. He's virtually transformed that team, hasn't he? In a number of months. You know? Great job, John.
Yeah.
Max out of 10.
8.
What do you think, Mark?
I'd go same score, and I'll hold my hands up. I knew nothing about the bloke before he got the job, if I'm being honest. But he's I can't fault him at the moment. I think he's installing a lot of belief in the youngsters that previous managers haven't managed to do. I genuinely wish it wasn't in League One and we'd done something to stay up, but we got what we got.
And Guy, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon he's done a real good job. I know it's in a lower league, as Mark said, but you know he's improved. He's given the youngsters a chance. I think he's improved a couple of those players already. You know, the coach. You can see how poor the last 4 or 5 managers we've had in comparison to this guy. This guy seems to know, because he's coached at a high level, and I think he knows. You know, he shows how far in front of people like Bullet and Riza and Morrison he is. And I think probably, you know, you may have even kept that lot we had up last year if he'd been here, who knows. But certainly coaching youngsters, he's a vast improvement on what we've had of the last 3 or 4 years, by a long shot.
Okay, so all positive then, and it's nice to see some smiles back amongst. Let's be honest. Last season was a bit of a washout, bit of a drab affair, but there's renewed enthusiasm in the camp this year, isn't there? You know, so
yeah. Look at the crowds at home. We've gone down the league and we're getting 18, 19, 20,000 down there. You know, I know teams are bringing big followings to us, but you know, I never thought we'd be cracking 20,000 after we got relegated, and we are. You know?
How many Saturdays do you think?
Yeah, onwards and upwards then, lads. And thanks for coming on tonight. Been very enjoyable. And Steve's back next week, so looking forward to more Bluebirds chat. Enjoy the game Saturday, and here's the 3 more points.
Maxwell Beats.
For your Caesar. Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.